Hello everyone. So today we will be talking about the defense mechanisms of gingiva. This will be the last lecture in the topic gingiva. It will be studied under 4 subheadings, right? The various mechanisms that are involved in the defense mechanism of gingiva are: first will be the epithelial barrier. To be more precise, it will be the junctional epithelium, the role of the junctional epithelium. Okay, first one is the epithelial barrier, second is the gingival crevicular fluid or the sulcular fluid, third will be the saliva, and the fourth will be the leukocytes in the dentogingival area or leukocytes in the gingival sulcus. Okay, so we will explain each of them in detail. Epithelial barrier, we have already studied this in the previous lecture. So the points are from the previous lecture only. You will write these 4 points. The first point is the stratified squamous epithelium of gingiva plays an active role in the innate host defense by responding to bacteria in an interactive manner. Okay, so the first defense is the stratified squamous epithelium of the gingiva, which plays an active role in the innate host defense. Innate means coming from inside the body, right? Second is the principal cells of gingival epithelium are the keratinocytes. We have studied this earlier also, which undergo proliferation and differentiation. Now, differentiation of the keratinocytes produces what? Produces an orthokeratinized superficial horny layer which form a protective barrier. Okay, so keratinocytes are involved in the production of keratin, right? But some other proteins are also synthesized during the maturation of keratinocytes. Okay, these proteins are non-keratin proteins, which are named, the important ones are keratolinin and involucrin. Okay, तो some कुछ नॉन केराटिन प्रोटीन्स भी प्रोड्यूस्ड होती है जब मैच्योरेशन ऑफ केराटिनोसाइट्स टेक्स प्लेस, राइट? अपार्ट फ्रॉम केराटिन, द मेन आर द keratolinin and involucrin. Okay, these proteins, what they do, we have discussed this earlier. These proteins form a chemically resistant structure called envelope below the cell membrane. अगर किसी को थोड़ा सा भी याद आएगा, ये नीट के प्रिपरेशन के टाइम ये डायग्राम में था, सेल वाला मॉर्फोलॉजी ऑफ बैक्टीरियल सेल में दिस वाज देयर, एनवेलप. ओके, एनवेलप बिलो द सेल मेम्ब्रेन. नाउ वी विल कम टू द रोल ऑफ junctional epithelium. Junctional epithelium has to be mentioned separately. So junctional epithelium exhibits several structural as well as functional features that prevents the pathogenic bacterial flora from colonizing the subgingival tooth surface. मतलब क्या है कि जंक्शनल एपिथेलियम बहुत सारे ऐसा स्ट्रक्चरल फीचर्स और फंक्शनल फीचर्स शो करता है जो क्या प्रिवेंट करते हैं कि सब जिंजाइवल टूथ सरफेस में बैक्टीरिया को कोलोनाइजेशन करने से प्रिवेंट करती है, राइट? तो कौन कौन से इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स है? देयर आर 3 इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स मेंशन्ड इन Carranza. द फर्स्ट इज जंक्शनल एपिथेलियम इज फर्मली अटैच्ड टू द टूथ सरफेस. ठीक है, पढ़े थे, इफ यू कैन रिमेंबर, जंक्शनल एपिथेलियम का डेफिनेशन पढ़े थे. इट फॉर्म्स ए कॉलर लाइक बैंड ऑफ स्ट्रैटिफाइड स्क्वेमस एपिथेलियम, ऐसे कुछ पढ़े थे क्या? तो junctional epithelium is firmly attached to the tooth surface, forming an epithelial barrier against the tooth bacteria. Okay, second point is it allows access of gingival fluid. It allows access of gingival fluid, inflammatory cells and components of immunological host defense system to the gingival margin. Okay, third point is junctional epithelium exhibits rapid turnover which contribute to the host parasite equilibrium and rapid repair of damaged tissue, right? So rapid turnover means जो खराब हो गए सेल्स उसको हटा के फिर नए सेल्स बनना जल्दी जल्दी, right? This is the rapid turnover which contribute to the host parasite equilibrium and rapid repair of the damaged tissue. Now we'll move to the second part, that is the role of the gingival crevicular fluid exudate. Okay, the first point will be GCF is an inflammatory exudate. The second point will be, since it is an inflammatory exudate, its amount will be greater whenever inflammation is present, and it is noticed that sometimes it is proportional. This is the sign of proportionality. Sometimes it is proportional to the severity of the inflammation. Okay. Third point is GCF production is not increased by trauma from occlusion. This is trauma from occlusion, right? So GCF production is not increased by trauma from occlusion, but it is increased in these following cases. What are the cases? It increases by mastication of coarse food. Okay. Second is toothbrushing, gingival massage, ovulation, smoking, and hormonal contraceptives. According to Carranza, the composition of GCF can be studied under these following headings. First is the cellular elements. So as you can see, in the cellular elements, there is bacteria, desquamated epithelial cells, and the leukocytes. In leukocytes, there are PMNs, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, lymphocytes, monocytes, as well as macrophages. Coming to the electrocytes, the main electrocytes are sodium, potassium, and calcium. Then there is the organic compounds. So both carbohydrates and proteins are there. Glucose, hexosamine, and hexuronic acid, right? Now what you need to remember is the glucose concentration. Okay, glucose concentration is 3 to 4 times more in GCF than in serum, but the protein concentration is much less in GCF than in serum. Okay, so these two are important points. Glucose concentration is 3 to 4 times more in GCF than in serum, and protein content is less than that in serum. Now coming to the enzymes and bacterial products. There are numerous enzymes and bacterial products that have been identified, but for the sake of completing this chart, we are mentioning a few of them, like lactic acid, urea, citric acid is also there, acid phosphatase, alkaline phosphatase, cytokines, immunoglobulins, right? And many more are there. You can write here and many more. Okay. So students, this chart is not in my notes also. So if you want, you can take the screenshot of this and you can write this on in your exams. Okay. Saliva plays a very important role in the defense mechanism of gingiva. What it does, it maintains the pH in the oral cavity and help neutralize the reflux acids in the esophagus. Means the acids which are being refluxed from the esophagus to the oral cavity, the saliva tends to neutralize it. Okay. It maintains the pH in the oral cavity. So what is the pH of saliva? pH of saliva ranges between 6.3 to 7.6, right? This is the range of pH. So saliva maintains the pH of the oral cavity in this range, and it helps neutralize, means cancel the effect, cancel the effect of all the reflux acids that are coming from the esophagus, right? Next is the bicarbonates and the phosphate ions, as well as the basic proteins in saliva. What they do? They maintain the near neutral pH in the oral cavity, means a near neutral pH of around 7. pH of around 7 is maintained in the oral cavity by the help of bicarbonates, phosphates, as well as basic proteins. Now what they do? This prevents the demineralization of enamel, right? Which prevents the demineralization of enamel that would otherwise occur due to the acids produced by the sugar metabolizing bacteria. Now what this means is, enamel once formed cannot be reformed, right? Enamel is chiefly an inorganic, is composed of inorganic constituent. What is the composition of enamel? If we remember this, it is the calcium hydroxyapatite, right? Calcium hydroxyapatite. So enamel is prone to demineralization by the acids produced by all the bacteria in the oral cavity. Sugar metabolizing bacteria in the oral cavity can demineralize the enamel, right? So what these constituents of saliva, the basic proteins, phosphates, as well as bicarbonates, what they do? They prevent that demineralization of enamel, right? Next is the fluid nature of saliva. The fluid nature of saliva provides the washing and cleansing action, okay, which clears the non-adherent, means non-sticky, potentially harmful substances in the oral cavity. Next is the viscous components. Viscous components, for example, the mucin. Viscous components, example, mucin, lubricate the oral tissues and form a barrier against the microbial products. Viscous components means consistency like honey between solid and liquid, right? So viscous component example is mucin. Okay. Next is salivary proteins form a thin coating on tooth surface called the pellicle. Okay. Salivary proteins form a thin coating on tooth surface called the pellicle that protects the tooth surfaces, right? So pellicle is composed of various types of proteins as well as glycoproteins. Okay. Saliva is supersaturated with calcium and phosphate ions. Supersaturated means excessively present. In simple language, it is excessively present. Saliva contains calcium and phosphate ions in excess amount, which leads to post-eruptive maturation of enamel surfaces. Means enamel surfaces after eruption, they are matured with the help of these calcium and phosphate ions which are present in the saliva, and which in turn increases their hardness and the resistance to demineralization, right? Next is the predominant antibody in saliva. AB is antibody. Predominant antibody in saliva is IgA, immunoglobulin A. And what IgA does? IgA inhibit attachment of oral streptococcus species to the epithelial cells. Now next point is a bit important. The antibacterial factors present in saliva. The antibacterial factors present in saliva, first is the lysozyme, right? Lysozyme. Lysozyme is an hydrolytic enzyme which is effective both against gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Gram-positive, gram-negative, check in Google. So lysozyme is an hydrolytic enzyme, right? Hydrolytic enzyme which is effective against both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Most commonly, they are effective against Veillonella and Actinobacillus. Second is the lactoperoxidase thiocyanate. Okay, lactoperoxidase thiocyanate, which is effective specifically against Lactobacillus and Streptococcus. How they work? They work by preventing the accumulation of lysine and glutamic acid, right? They prevent the accumulation of this lactoperoxidase thiocyanate, prevents the accumulation of lysine and glutamic acid, both of which are essential for growth of these bacteria. Okay. Another antibacterial finding is lactoferrin, which is specifically working against Actinobacillus, right? Coming to leukocytes in the gingival sulcus or the dentogingival area. So these are the 7 points that you will write. First is the PMNs. The polymorphonuclear leukocytes are the most common leukocytes in the gingival sulcus. Each of these points are very important from your MCQ point of view also. So please pay attention. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes are the most common leukocytes in the gingival sulcus. Second is the neutrophils are the first line of defense in the dentogingival area. Third, gingival sulcus acts as the portal for entry of leukocytes into the oral cavity, right? Gingival sulcus is the gate or port of entry of leukocytes into the oral cavity. Leukocytes are present in the gingival sulcus even when the area is free from inflammatory infiltrate. Means even if there is no inflammation, leukocytes are present in the gingival sulcus. Now next 3 points are very important. Please pay attention, students. Differential count of leukocytes from a clinically healthy human gingival sulcus shows 91% of PMNLs and 8.5% of mononucleus cells, right? 91% polymorphonucleus cells, 8.5% mononucleus cells. Now coming to this 8.5% of mononuclear cells, when mononuclear cells are classified, they have 58% of B cells, 24% of T cells and 18% of mononuclear phagocytes, right? These all are included in this 8.5%. Differential count of 8.5% mononuclear cells shows this result. 58% B cells, 24% T cells and 18% mononuclear phagocytes. Ratio of T to B cells is reversed from 3:1 in peripheral blood to 1:3 in GCF, right? So T to B cell ratio is being reversed from 3:1 in the blood to 1:3 in the GCF. This finishes the topic defense mechanisms of gingiva. I will suggest that you people go through the book also once and you will have a much better idea. And in this portion, many people may have the confusion of various types of cells that are mentioned here. Just go through the types of WBCs or types of leukocytes and you will be having a crystal clear idea. So as usual, subscribe, and if subscribed, like, comment, and if you have any questions, please ask and share the video with your friends. Thank you, have a great day and happy Independence Day.